Hi, I'm Sherman Lo. I'm a senior research engineer at the Stanford GPS laboratory working on GNSS resiliency. I help lead our research efforts under the DOT CARNATIONS Center. The Stanford GPS lab has a long history with GPS. It was started by Professor Brad Parkinson, who is known as the father of GPS. Professor Parkinson did his PhD in the Department of Aeronautics in the 1960s before starting the GPS program. So we're in the Spilker building, and Jim Spilker was a longtime collaborator of the GPS laboratory. He developed the GPS signal structure in 1972. In the 1990s, the GPS lab developed many innovative uses of GNSS for transportation, from autonomous farming to autonomous boats to autonomous UAVs to 119 autolands of a 737. What we learned from this work, what we learned was the most challenging part of using GNSS for transportation was to develop reliable and high-trust GNSS. And this is a concept known as integrity. Being part of the DOT CARNATIONS Center allows us to develop integrity concepts applicable to today's challenging and advanced uses of GNSS, from autonomous cars to shipping to train control. So I'm standing here next to the Queen Elizabeth Prize, which was given to Brad Parkinson, who founded the GPS lab, and Jim Spilker, a longtime collaborator, for the invention of GPS, and particularly for its use in solving some of the challenging transportation and communication problems of today. So now we're at the GPS lab. In the front of the GPS lab is where the most important work gets done, because this is where the graduate students and our postdocs sit and work. The GPS lab works primarily on making GPS and navigation safe enough for all sorts of critical transportation applications. And so there are two fundamental areas that we work on in this. First, because we're using GNSS more precisely to the centimeter level, we need to make sure that aspect is safe enough for use at that level of accuracy. And so that presents more fundamental challenging problems than our use of GNSS in the past. And we should have to understand GNSS errors and stuff to a deeper level because of that. And so some of our researchers, postdocs, work on that. The other aspect we work on are deliberate attacks on GNSS. One is known as jamming, which is denial of GNSS, but the worst one is known as spoofing. That's fake GNSS signals that might trick your receiver into thinking it's in the wrong position or at the wrong speed or the wrong time. And this can cause all sorts of adverse effects to different forms of transportation, whether it's aircraft navigation or autonomous cars or train control or maritime harbor entrance and approach. And so we work on knowing when this is happening. So this is a map where we have daily data showing where we have jamming and spoofing events and figuring out ways of protecting against it. And we'll see some of that as we go back. So now we're in the middle of the lab, and this is where the professional staff works. Because we have a larger professional staff than most college laboratories, because we do a lot of work that becomes part of operational systems. So we have to translate the research work that's being done by the graduate students and the postdocs into something that can be put into operational systems. So we work a lot in working with the FAA and other international organizations in developing standards for aviation and other forms of transportation, so that they can be built into receivers and other equipment that operate in systems that are in the real world. So for example, aircraft use the wide area augmentation system, and that's something that we help develop and we help develop standards for. So now we're in the back of the lab. In the back of the lab, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we build equipment to test a lot of the concepts and ideas that we have or collect data to do the research on. And so here we have an anechoic chamber where we can test spoofing and jamming in a controlled condition that doesn't affect anybody else. We have software receivers that we can put in there, as well as receivers from different manufacturers that we can put in there. And then in the back, we have here our network attached storage devices. So we have to have these very large storage devices to store the data that we're getting from every aircraft, practically every commercial aircraft around the world every day, that we use to figure out where jamming and spoofing is. And we have multiple years of data stored in these NAS. So here we also have the original equipment rack that we had for the first prototype wide area augmentation system known as the National Satellite Testbed, NSTB. So we developed the concept of WAAS, the Wide Area Augmentation System, and we built the first prototype here. And we helped the FAA develop the operational system. This operational system is being used by aircraft around the world to navigate GNSS, and in some sense, it's the primary way many commercial aircraft can use GNSS safely to navigate and to land. And after this, we'll go upstairs to the roof to see other equipment we have there to do research. We're now on the roof of the GPS laboratory. Being at this location allows us to do live sky testing. Here we have an array antenna that we are testing to develop GNSS resiliency. Over here we have one of several low-cost monitors that we have fielded on this roof that allows us to detect jamming and spoofing. And this allows us to protect GNSS. Both these projects are sponsored by CARNATIONS. And this shows the importance of the CARNATIONS effort to developing GNSS resiliency.